Hey everyone, it's Andy here. And I just wanted to give a quick update today on the 2021 unemployment extensions. So I know these programs have been rolled out since the new COVID relief bill was passed back in late December 2020. So these programs are being rolled out across all 50 states to extend unemployment benefits that were put in place as part of the CARES Act originally. These extensions have, as expected, not been smooth and consistent across states, and several states are still rolling these out, and many claimants are complaining about the delay in payments, but it is happening. I did want to just talk a little bit about three sections in today's video. One is about how the programs relate. So the PUA, the 300 FPUC, and the PEUC are all separate programs, but they all are sort of interrelated, and you have to understand how they work together because you may hear people in your state that are getting benefits, but you're not, or getting some of the benefits, or you're not getting all of them. And that's really due to the fact that how these programs works, when your benefits expired, and how these extended extensions implemented by the states all affect when and how you get your benefits. I just want to briefly cover that as well. I'm going to cover some of the common questions I've been getting. I have posted videos on YouTube. I've got a lot of blog posts here, and I've got several Facebook and Twitter updates. And I'm getting a lot of questions across those, probably about 1,000 so far, and I try to answer as many as I can. But I'm going to just talk about some of the themes that I'm seeing, and I'll touch on how to address some of those. And lastly, I'll touch on some of the state rollouts and how it's going. There's several states where the rollout has been less than stellar, so I just wanted to cover these and give a quick update of where some of these I've made some recent updates and so help some of you, the states like New Jersey, Virginia, and Florida. So I'll touch on those as well. As always, if you find the information here, please consider liking this video and obviously subscribe to keep getting more updates like this or general topics around saving and investing, taxes. I'll keep posting videos like that over the next few weeks, so please subscribe if it's helpful. So just to touch on the different programs. So this graphic, I got it from one of the state unemployment sites, and I like it just because it shows all of the programs together. So it's important to understand how these work. And so I'm going to start. So you can see here, you start with the CARES Act on top. So the CARES Act was the original one back from March 29, 2020. That expired on December 26th. And it's really important to understand this December 26th and December 27th dates are the two really important ones that really determine who is getting benefits and how fast they're getting their benefits, especially the extra 300 FPUC payment. So keep that in mind. The December 26th date is the end of the CARES Act. So anything that was before 26th or before, it's considered you've exhausted benefits if you ran out of benefits before the December 26th. That's the week ending December 26th. The new Continuing Appropriations Act is basically from December 27th onwards to March 13th. So that's the extension coverage period. So basically, anyone who had active benefits is considered to have either remaining balance or weeks left. It just depends the terminology your state uses. But you're considered to have an active claim if after December 27th you are still eligible for benefits through any of these programs, PUA, PUC, or state extended benefits. So it's important to keep those two dates in mind because that does drive the groups of people that are getting benefits. States are rolling out based in a certain sequence. So if you look at it from top to bottom, so you have regular UI. So this is the regular state unemployment. This is available basically for 26 weeks in most states. It does vary by state. Florida has 12 weeks. Other states have less. This is just essentially based on your previous year. So it's assessed by the state. And again, it's because of those people who generally contribute towards unemployment fund. So this is 26 weeks. It's pretty standard. Most people have used this, or if you recently lost your job, you have to first get regular UI. And this is the order sort of the sequence of how benefits are being allocated. So then there came the PEUC program. So this was initially there for 13 weeks from March 29 to December 26. So this was the pandemic emergency unemployment compensation. And this was given to people who were on regular UI but had used up the 26 weeks. So they got 13 extra weeks that they could use to the end of the year. This program was extended by another 11 weeks from December 27th to March 13th. Again, you have an active PEUC claim if you had weeks remaining. So people who didn't necessarily use the 13 weeks because they had the 26 first for regular UI, then they got to use PEUC. they would have had 11 weeks left. And so if they had weeks left after December 27th, they were considered to have an active PEUC claim. And then some states, based on the high unemployment rate, had what they call state extended benefits. EB stands for extended benefits. So this was 13 to 20 weeks, and it was based on the state unemployment rate, but when it was in, when it was out, and I have a whole article on that, and I'll post some links for that below. But there was no sort of extension. It started March 10th, and it was sort of just based on when the state's unemployment was there. So this was provided to people on top of regular UI. They got state extended benefits. They had PUC. They could use all three of these programs, and so these programs for regular UI, PUC, and extended benefits really for those salaried W-2 kind of workers who qualified for state benefits. And so those are the three programs they worked in that gave them, in a lot of cases, 50 plus weeks. So this was actually in place last year, and a lot of people were using it. Again, if you have extended benefits, state extended benefits, you consider to have an active claim if you had weeks remaining in that. And they want you to use regular UI, extended benefits, and then PUC. So there's a sequence to that, and states have listed the order that they have to do it. And again, systems are being implemented based on which program you fall into. So it's really important to know what you're eligible for. Then the last, not the last program, but the other big program that was implemented as part of the CARES Act, or at least reinstated, was the PUA, which is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. This program was for 39 weeks as a base. Some states extended it, like California, they made it longer, like 47 weeks. But this essentially was for those workers who did not have a regular salary job, no W-2, so gig workers, contractors, freelancers. They had this PUA program, and this PUA program was also extended as part of the CARES Act by 11 more weeks. So the extended coverage was December 27th to March 13th. Again, it's important to understand, active claim is if you had any PUA weeks left after December 27th. So you consider it active. If you had exhausted your benefits before December 27th, so before December 26th, including December 6th and before, you consider to have exhausted your PEUA claim. And there are a lot more people in this category because they would not have been able to qualify for the top three. So they would have started getting the PUA, they were eligible from February 2nd technically, but any time of the year. And they may have run out of all their benefit weeks by the time they got to December 27th. So if they ran out before December 27th, they were considered to have exhausted their claim. And these are the groups, people who had exhausted their claims, whether it's PUC or PUA, are the ones that are getting the last round of benefit implementations by the states. And that's really because the new legislation, the CAA, the Continued Assistance Act, has new requirements to get PUC and PUA, and states have to implement these changes before they can enroll new people or renew benefits into these programs. So I know there's a lot of people frustrated, but that's the reason why it's delayed. You get the PUA and PUC, the extended coverage. If you run out of benefits before December 27th, you are probably the last group that the state will allow you to re-enroll for those benefits, and that's why those are running late. The other program that came as part of the Continued Assistance Act is the MEUC, which is the Mixed Earner Unemployment Compensation. This is a new program that was really meant to address a hole for PUA recipients, and I have a whole article on that which I'll post below, and I won't go into that too now because no state has actually rolled that out. It's a brand new program. It's going to probably take several weeks. Payments will be retroactive, like for all programs, back to the start of to December 27th for those people who are getting it in this extended coverage. They'll get an extra $100 on top of their $300 FPUC program. Some states had work share programs, which were there to provide extra people so people could work part time or they could have some benefits, and that was also extended. It was only 50% federally funded, and I'll cover that in a separate video. But that's not all states have done that. It's unique to some states, but essentially just allows people who are maybe sharing a job or all that just to have some benefits so they don't suffer inadvertently because they don't qualify for some of the other benefits. The big one, which I think people are waiting for, is the last one on the row here, FPUC. So this was originally $600 for 13 weeks between March 29th and July 25th. This was taken out. There was a program here called LWA, Lost Wages Assistance. That's a completely separate program signed by executive order. That was $300 for 5 weeks from August 5th to September 5th. But the one that's been sort of, FPUC has come back in its old form for 11 weeks as part of the new Continued Assistance Act. The amount was halved to $300, which was the same amount as the Lost Wages Assistance Program. But again, this is only from December 27th to March 13th. Like all the new extensions, it's only retroactive to December 27th. So you can't go back and get it, there. It's only from this day. So a lot of people asked, are the benefits retroactive? They're only retroactive to December 27th. You can backdate claims if you were truly unemployed in these weeks. And, you can go backdate to December 1st for PUA claims, but everything else is only really retroactive to December 27th. So the 300 FPUC, to get that, you need to be in one of the above programs. You either need to have your work share, PUA, PEUC, extended benefits, or regular UI. But you can see here, if you don't have PUA or PEUC, you can't get the 300. You have to at least get $1 from one of these other programs. So a lot of people who are waiting for the $300 payment, the main reason they don't get it is because they haven't been able to re-enroll or restart their claims for PUA or PEUC because states haven't updated their systems for the new requirements under the Continued Assistance Act. So I've covered a lot here. Please rewind and re-listen to what I've said. I'll put some more links with more information to each of these programs. But just the key takeaway is that understand that all these programs sort of work together. You may qualify for one or more, and the sequence is really important. And that's how the states are rolling out some of the extensions. So if you're not getting, for example, you're not hearing from your state, it's because it's quite complicated. The systems are old. We've seen it with the several other rollouts. It takes a long time for states to get it out. But this order is going to be really important for you to understand. So, keep this slide for reference. So the kind of questions I've been getting, and I touched on this in my previous section, was that there's sort of four broad themes I'm seeing, and I want to just make sure that I cover some of these because I know this is hopefully going to help some people who are frustrated, desperate for the extra money. And I understand, people. This is the difference between putting food on your table or having to rely on going to the food bank. So the four areas I'm getting are, I've exhausted claims prior to December 27th. When will I get my benefits, right? So that's probably the big question. So when do I get my benefits? Again, these were those people who had benefits, they ran out of benefits before December 27th, whether it's PUA, PEUC, they consider to have exhausted the benefits. So this group, unfortunately, because of the new PUA requirements, are going to be the last group that states update. Some states are, have started getting this out. California, for example, the EDD is rolling this out over 10 days. They should be done by the end of January. States like Florida, Virginia, New Jersey are slow. New York's been pretty good at getting some of these out. But this group, let's call it the exhausted claims group prior to December 27th, that's really important. The date is really important. I mean, it's not, you may have had, benefits going into the week of Jan 2nd, Jan 10th. You're considered to have an active claim then. But, you've exhausted your benefits. You should keep certifying if you can, but otherwise you can't do anything. So a lot of the people asking, what can I do? Who can I, what can I do? You can't really do anything. Until states update their unemployment systems, there's nothing much you can do. You have to wait for them to apply, and they'll give you instructions. By law, they have to send you instructions on what to do next if you are eligible for PUA, PEUC, or you have to switch from PUC back to regular UI. You'll get instructions, and I have a whole article about different scenarios, which I'll post here, what you should do. And I posted a video, which you'll see the link above here on what you should do. And the other question I'm getting is, will I get my regular UI and 300 together? The answer is yes. You should get those both together. They'll show up as separate lines in your UI portal or your online unemployment site. You may be paid them separately. It just depends on how the state processes it, and especially for retroactive payments, because if programs, for example, roll out at the end of January, you'll get 4 weeks of back payments. So you'll probably get that as a separate payment, the retroactive payments, but you should only get paid your regular UI and 300 because your state will make a determination that if you qualify for the 300, which means you've got $1 from one of the other programs, you'll get the 300 payment. So a lot of states will pay that in the same week. They may not be one transaction, maybe two transactions, but you should get them at around the same time. And then who can I contact? So this is a big one, and I have a link for the states where you can contact. It's tough to contact anyone if the state's still rolling out the PUA and the PUC extensions for those, especially with exhausted benefits. A lot of states, as I'll show you shortly, have rolled it out for regular UI claimants, those in extended benefits, or those who had active claims as of December 27th. But those who haven't, the states are basically saying, don't contact us. We'll let you know when we've updated our system so you can basically recertify or continue your claims. The best option is to, obviously I'll say follow my updates, but there's also a lot of stuff on social media, Twitter, Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook sites that have set up for specific states. I will look at those to see what's happening. Keep monitoring the state UI website. They keep posting updates. Some states are much better than others. Some are pretty bad at posting updates. There's not much transparency. And I think that's more just because they don't even know themselves, because all these old mainframe systems I've just patched together, and with all the amount of claimants they're getting, the amount of existing claims they have to pay, it's just hard to keep up to date for some of these old systems. But who you can contact is really, I would say your order is you should contact a UI agency if you really need to talk to someone. If you can't get through to someone or you have issues with your claims, there's an appeal process in most states. Contact your local state representative or your local congressman. They can help you. And then ultimately, I think you just need to look at social media, see what others are doing and what the latest are. But hopefully by the end of January, most of the extensions should be, most of the system should be updated for the extensions. You should be able to apply. I think things like the mixed unemployment compensation will probably take till February or even early March to get done, but that's not going to affect as many people. My estimate right now is by the end of January, early February, the bulk of states should have it. I'm going to now talk about the different states and some of the recent updates I've made based on what they have published. So you can see here what this tracker is here, and I'll put a link below. It's savingtoinvest.com/300. It's just showing you how the 300 FPUC payment is going, and why this is important is that if states can make the 300 FPUC payment, that means they've implemented the other programs because you need to get those in to be able to get the $300. So this is sort of a way of looking at sort of, if they can pay out the 300, they can they'll already be enrolling people. Now the risk, the challenge with this, and there's other FPUC 300 FPUC trackers online, they saying certain dates, and even here I'll have certain dates here. The challenge is this isn't generally, unless noted, only for active people who have actually either in their state UI program, they got extended benefits, or they had active claims after December 27th. So they started getting the FPUC payment because they had active claims. As soon as they exhaust their claim, then they probably need to wait for the state to roll out, update their systems to be able to enroll in the extended PUA and PEUC coverage. So you have to read the notes I have here. There will be some states that I've noted very specifically when the PUA program is. When it's not noted, it just generally means either it's paying out for all programs or it's only for those people who have active claims. So you can see here, Arizona, for example, started the week of Jan 3rd. That's still only for active claimants. They're rolling out other people, but Arizona has been pretty good, one of the better states at rolling out the program. So I think they'll be pretty soon. All the claimants should be there. You can always click on the link here if you want to see more details for that specific state, and I'll post the link for this below. California, probably one of the largest states with one of the largest unemployment populations. It started actually paying the FPUC payment back in Jan 3rd because people who had regular UI or on their state extensions, they could keep certifying every week. So that means they were able to be eligible for the $300 FPUC payment. So that actually started the week of Jan 3rd. So it was retroactive for 1 week because the first week was December 27th to January 2nd. So California's been pretty good. They're actually from Jan 10th, over 2 weeks, they're actually rolling it out to people with PUA and PEUC. So these are people with active PUA and PEUC claims. Now they're saying that by the end of January, they should have it out to everyone who had exhausted their claims prior to December 27th. So those people can then enroll for PUA and they can enroll on PEUC. They should be able to get benefits. So just scrolling down a little bit further, Connecticut, again, is pretty quick at rolling out payments. Colorado is end of January for those who have exhausted their claims. And actually, no, that's just for everyone. I stand corrected there. They're still updating the system, pay out the $300 for anyone. Florida, another big state, a lot of people are interested in that. They started paying out, you can see here from Jan 12th for those people, regular UI people, those with active claims from Jan 12th. And the DEO, which is the unemployment agency, said that they're working on implementing the PUC and PUA for claimants who had exhausted benefits. So they haven't given a date. DEO is not the most efficient group and they're not the most transparent. But again, I think end of Jan is when we'll probably see it for all Floridians. Similar to Georgia. So Georgia has rolled out again. It was pretty quick. Those who had active claimants, they're able to start paying from, for the week ending Jan 2nd. The payments were released on Jan 12th, so there was a bit of a lag, but they obviously will make it retroactive to Jan 2nd if you were able to certify for those weeks. The important part here is like the PUA, and this is all from the state website, PUA and PUC claimants who have exhausted benefits should not have to file a new claim, but just continue to request weekly payments. They'll then be able to go back and you can request payments for past weeks. But it's important, and this is a really important part, don't just file a new claim because you not hear anything, because what happens is if you file a new claim, you can go drop back to the line, right? You should wait for an instruction from your state UI website. And I know it's frustrating at times, but that's probably the best course of option for you to do. Jumping down here, the other big state is Illinois. They've confirmed, and this is IDIS, they've confirmed that January 7th, they've started paying for active benefits. Again, it's back to the week of Jan 2nd was the first week, but again, it only started on, they confirmed that only from Jan 7th, so there may be a 1 2 week lag. They still haven't, again, updated for those people who are exhausted benefits. They're waiting to update their system. So again, you can check the Illinois page for specific details. Um, Massachusetts actually is pretty good. They've actually on Jan 6th they started paying claimants. Again, going back to the week ending Jan 2nd, they rolled it out for PU claimants from Jan 11th, and then PUC and those with exhausted benefits, that's going to follow towards the end of January. Again, you can read Michigan, very similar. Those who had regular benefits, they were getting it from Jan 12th, Jan 17th for those active PUA and PUC claimants, and then probably end of January for those who have exhausted their benefits. You can see the trend here, right? So everyone who was sort of had a regular UI, PUA, PUC, that group, those sort of two groups started getting their benefits quickly, and most of them have, by mid-January now, as I record this video, have already started getting paid the 300 FPUC. It's that group who've really exhausted their benefits that having to wait the longest. Okay, so just jumping, the other two big states which I'll touch on, which have raised a lot of comments, is New Jersey. New Jersey had said they would get this done, Jan 7th, Jan 12th, but they kept on running late, and they haven't paid any of the 300 FPUC payment. Their statement is, and it keep changing. This causes a lot of frustration. There's a whole video I've done on New Jersey itself. They're having issues implementing the $300 payment. So a lot of people are still waiting. They still haven't even updated their systems to process, new or renewed claims for those who ran out of PUA and PUC. So it's a bit of a mess in New Jersey, and unfortunately, it's just going to take some time to the end of January, and hopefully this week, the week of Jan 18th, they should start paying at least regular UI people and those who had active claims, but the others could take a while. New York has been very efficient. They've started paying actually a lot of their claimants, and even people who had exhausted their benefits can now claim in New York. So I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with the New York Labor Department. They've done a good job rolling this out. Pennsylvania, again, is also a similar situation to most states. They're paying it for active people on regular UC unemployment. UC means unemployment compensation, extended benefits. Others just have to wait until they get their systems up to date. And the last one I'll touch on is Virginia, because this has also created a lot of comments on my website, and I have, again, a very dedicated page. All these ones that are blue, just the largest states, I've got a dedicated page for their tracking. So they started paying out, on the 8th of January for regular UI, and those actually had active PUC claims. They were able to do that pretty quickly. For people with active PUA claims, they said 14th of January. I think it's going to be more like now, which is 19th of January, after MLK Day, just because of the weekend and all those updates. But they've actually already said that those who exhausted their benefits, whether you're on the PUA or PEUC program, you won't get your claims till probably the end of January. So they've already made that announcement. So there's a lot happening here. So you can go look at this table, savingtoinvest.com/300. I try and update this as regularly as I can, or if I get new updates. A lot of states are getting the payments out. The people who are struggling in those groups had exhausted benefits before December 26th. So they need the states to update the systems to allow them to file or refile their all claims under the Continued Assistance Act, and then they can get the $300 payment. Anyway, I hope this helped, and I know there was a lot to cover, so please go back and review this video. Leave any questions and comments below, and if this was useful to you, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks, and goodbye.